Okay, this is going to be a story about living in Alaska when I was in 4th grade. And a little bit about the culture there. So, I'm not very good with videos, but we'll start the story. So we're living there. Finally got invited to go. Been asking for a long time to go fishing with some of the Eskimos that were there. I asked for at least 2-3 months, trying to get them to say yeah, and I could bring my fishing pole and go fishing and catch salmon. Finally got invited to go one day. So got my tackle box ready, got me a new rod because they told me I needed a big one because we're catching salmon. So I got a bigger fishing pole and was walking down. We were in the bush, so people lived in houses there. There was no roads. It was dirt roads, wood sidewalks. The basketball court was even wood. Decided I left in the morning early, got up, didn't sleep very well the night before because I was excited to go fishing. Walked down the wood planks, sidewalks, to the boat where one of the Eskimos, don't really remember names, just it was a family that I knew and their son. I played with them. Got in the boat and we went out a ways on this river, and it's called on the Naposkiak River. Pretty big river. To give you an example what size of the river, it's a 7-mile wide river. So went out there. It was early. It was about 5 in the morning. We went out, and I was the only one I brought my tackle box, my fishing pole, and we were the only ones. I was the only one that had a fishing pole, and I was wondering what was going on. I get out there, I'm casting and spinning, just using spinners, spoons, to try to catch some salmon, and basically was wondering what was going on. I guess they just took me to go fishing. I guess they weren't fishing. I don't know. So I was out there fishing for like 3 hours. Didn't get a bite. Didn't get anything. Wondering what's going on. And then they start laughing and they start speaking in Yupik, which is the Eskimo language. And they said they were just joking around. And then the next thing you know, they're throwing out nets. And this is like 3.5 hours of me just casting a rod, and they threw out nets, and that's how they catch their fish for their winter food. They'll smoke it. They'll catch them, then they'll put them in the house, in their smokehouses, and smoke them. And I sat there and fished for another 3 hours, didn't get any fish, and they were laughing. And then we brought the nets in, and they, boatloads of salmon in the nets and dumping them into the little boat they had, and they just laughed, I guess. And from then on out, they just laughed how I was going fishing with them. So we went back to the port, and I just started walking home empty-handed, no fish, didn't get one bite, nothing. But they caught like over 121 fish. And so there was about 16 of them that were king salmons, and the father told me to come back, and I came back to the boat, and he gave me one of his king salmon to carry home. It was 80 pounds. I think it weighed 84 pounds. And if you can imagine a 4th grader, I weighed about 84 pounds. So I'm packing it on my shoulder, walking on the boardwalk, falling down. It was heavy. Finally, dragging it in the dirt. Finally get it home, and it wouldn't even fit in the oven that we had in our apartment there, because my parents were school teachers there, and they had to cut it up even more. So after cutting the tail off and the head off, it still didn't fit in the oven. So they had to cut that in half and then put it in the oven. So that fed us for like a long time. But that, I'm thinking I'm getting invited because everything there is being invited. You get invited for everything. It's, so the moral of the story, I guess, is that's how they fish, is with nets, not with fishing poles. So that is my story about fishing in Alaska.
And then they don't really call themselves Eskimos, right? Anymore.
Not anymore, but they were called Eskimos. So that's the story. You got anything else?
What's the other one about the polar bear?
The polar bear. That was when I'm really little. I don't know the whole story, but I know some of the story. And it was me and my mom riding on a snowmobile. We were coming back, and we got caught in kind of a blizzard. And this was in Hooper Bay. I can't remember. It's Hooper Bay or Chafornik, one of the two cities. But we got caught in a blizzard, and my mom drove over a cornice, landed in a big ditch, like over the cornice, landed in a big, just wrecked the snowmobile. And she said she looked up and saw a polar bear. And so she covered me, because I was only probably 3, covered me and just laid there. And we had coats that were white, and I think we must have blended in because the polar bear didn't do anything, and that's unusual, especially when you see one real close. That's the story that's about the only thing I know about the polar bear and the snowmobile and wrecking. And I got a bloody nose. But I was pretty little, so another story about, I guess it will stay with the theme of Alaska and the culture. When you're in the bush, they don't bathe. They don't have indoor plumbing and pipes, and their houses are on stilts because from the runoff from the rivers, they have to be built on stilts. I mean, I remember going to my friend's house, and they're looking through the floorboard, which they don't have carpet, just wood, looking through, and there's a river going right through their living room as you look down on the floor. So they're pretty simple. So for their bathing, it was an honor basically to get invited to the family bath. Didn't really know what the family bath was, but it was an honor. So you had to do it, no matter what. I mean, even if you didn't want to, it was an honor to get invited to the family bath. Now, how they bathe there is basically like a saunas. They build their homemade saunas, and they take, like, once a week they bathe as a family in the sauna, throwing steam on the rocks and steaming it up, and then when you're done with sweating it out of your pores, you jump in the snow and close your pores. That's what they do. That's their bath. So every week the family goes to the bath. I got a chance to go to a bath. Went to it. It was just like going in a sauna, except afterwards you jump in the snow. And the only downfall of it was everybody in the family was naked. The grandma, the grandpas, the mom and dads, everybody, all the kids and children. So it's kind of an unexpected little thing when you're 4th grade to see a bunch of naked people and being in there with them, and I'm in my shorts. But that's the family bathing. That's their culture. Part of the culture of Alaska and Eskimos is that's a good invite. If you get invited to family bath, it's supposed to be really honorable. So couldn't pass it up, even though I had to see naked people. As they would say, "Gayachchikam azigak."
What's that mean?
Good day, crazy white boy. That was my nickname because I guess I was crazy. So they thought I was crazy, so they nicknamed me. So there's your little Yupik, little culture, um, and they don't fish with fishing poles. They fish with nets, and they bathe with families.
Alright.
The end.